to our, and I'm going to say it, and I love the name, Touchdown Tuesday, which is all about a weekly video series that Angus and I are putting together. It's all about coaching and leadership in sports and in our workplaces. And so I thought I'd do a little bit of an introduction, Angus, just to introduce ourselves to everybody. And that'll give them a little bit of a backstory of how this whole thing started.
Sure.
Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Sophia Ariche. I'm the owner of Upskill Consulting. We are a human resources consulting firm and provide HR support and services to various companies, small to mid-sized firms. My passion lies in taking care of our people in our companies and making sure that companies think, act, and operate in a people-first culture. And that's why this lovely book, with all of my little tabs here, means so much to me. And this is how this whole thing came about. This is the amazing Angus Reid. Many of you, I'm sure, recognize him from his incredible football career and many of your keynote speaking engagements as well. And so Angus, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you played professional football for what, 13 years?
13 years, yes. Yeah, 13 years pro.
Amazing. And Angus, I'm going to read this off so I don't butcher it. Angus has been a 3-time All-Star, 2-time Grey Cup champion. I saw the rings and he let me wear them for a little bit. And a 5-time team captain, which is just so amazing. And so I know you're a sought after keynote speaker, TV host, radio host, and of course, author as well. So thank you for doing this with me. This is amazing.
No, I think it's great. I think we came up with this idea almost offhanded where we thought, wouldn't it be fun if we just sat down and kind of hammered through ideas and topics and had conversations? And you said, well, let's do it. I said, okay, then let's do it. So here we are. I think it's great. And I think both you and I will have a lot of learning through this. And hopefully we can share a lot and bring some value to everyone out there.
Exactly. That's awesome. And Angus and I met back in January, and Angus kicked off our Fraser Valley Breakfast Club. And I can tell you that every single person left with one of these books and totally inspired to just be better, whether it's in our personal lives or professional lives. And so I'm so excited to be able to do this. And a couple of weeks ago, Angus and I connected and I said, Angus, with this whole COVID-19 pandemic that's going on, I think like many people out there, we're starting to get to things that we put on the back burner. And for me, it's been reading books that have been on my reading list, and this was one of them. And so I was taking notes as I was reading each of your chapters. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. It totally applies to workplaces and leadership and how we execute day after day in terms of managing and leading our teams. And so I thought, you know, this whole topic of leadership transcends all industries. It doesn't matter if we're in sports, workplaces. A great leader is a great leader.
Yeah, I think it's so true. And I know people have said for years that sports transcends life, but a lot of people don't actually unpack that. And they just sort of leave it at that. And you need to really dive into how, what's really going on here. And you know, what's happening is you have coaches or leading people to improve themselves and maximize their own potential. And how that happens is through connecting with a person. And that's why it's so universal. A great leader is what you're doing is connecting with other humans, building trust and enabling them to lower their own walls and defenses and anxieties so they'll open up and actually give you all that they have, and in doing so become the best that they can be. And that is a universal concept, right? Bringing out the very best in somebody else is a leader's ultimate role. Getting someone to become the best version of who they are. And I was fortunate enough to learn it through the sports world, but when you leave and you look back at why was my coach so great, or why were the great coaches I had so great, it's because they connected with us as people. And I think you're right, that is a universal reality, that it doesn't matter how smart you are in terms of your tactics and strategies and techniques. If you cannot connect with people on a human level, it all gets lost or doesn't even get listened to. And if you can, it's no telling how much you can bring out in somebody. And that's got to be the greatest joy in a coach, is realizing that they've helped someone find or find the very best version of themselves in whatever discipline they're doing or work environment they're in.
Couldn't agree more. And in your book, I love the way you wrote down trust is a 5-letter word, but boy, is it hard to garner trust within your teams, right? It's not easy. It's not an overnight fix where all of your teams are just going to jump on board. It takes time, and you earn trust.
Yeah, I think the actual phrase was trust, a 5-letter word, easy to say, hard to do. And I know that well because my coach, Coach Dan Durazio, who the book is about, said that to us often. He was a big believer that if things are important, repeat them frequently. And so powerful messaging or powerful phrases that sound nice only matter if they actually resonate, and they only resonate if you hear it enough times that you have to really, really think it through and unpack it and learn it and know it. So that was something he let us know all the time. And he acted upon that. He knew that you're not going to get buy-in because you know what you're talking about. You're going to get buy-in because I know that you care about who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. And that does take time, but you have to do that on the front end, or else nothing else you do is going to matter. So he was big on at the very beginning. We knew that we were here to play football, but he cared first about who we are as a person. What mattered to us, what made us tick, what we were proud of in our life, what are our fears. And he spent the first good chunk of time before the season started really probing us so he could learn who we were. And he did this individually. He sat down and took us each to lunch, each player on our own, and gave us the floor where a lot of coaches are going to start the year off telling you how things are going to go. He started the year off, or our relationship off, trying to figure out who we were and really trying to give us the opportunity to express how we think, how we work, what matters to us, so he could start assembling how to converse with us as individuals, and how to communicate with me and how to communicate with my other teammate, which would all be uniquely different, so we could understand that this person knows who I am. And the only way that they're going to know who we are is actually caring about who we were, and not just telling us what the job is, but actually first up front going, who are you? I need to know. I really, really care. And then utilizing that to build that trust where I knew this person actually cared about me as a human being. And then we could get into coaching me in the job. And that's a step that I think some people skip, and maybe they don't even realize the value of that, but it's everything.